Hello, we are G.A.M.E. So I am sitting here in my truck outside my client's house because I have not completely given up all of my training during this quarantine. Actually, what he and I do is I stand out in his patio. He has a room on the other side of a door where he has set up gym equipment, and I talk to him through the door and tell him what to do with that equipment. And I'm a little bit early, so I figured that I would share something with you for this mini seminar series that will help you with your nutrition. Of course, when I leave the house and I'm going anywhere, I bring my license, the keys to the truck, and of course, water. Which brings us to today's discussion. Water is probably the most important thing that you put into your system on a daily basis. Okay? Our bodies are made up of 55 to 70% water. Not coffee, not juice, not iced tea, not Coke, but water. So it's important that as we lose that water naturally day to day, that we replenish that water. Our bodies are filtration systems. They're big filtration systems, and that filtration is driven by water. Everything that our body does, water has something to do with it doing it properly and efficiently. So, as an example, as we eat whatever it is that we eat, we use water to help it go through our system. Those nutrients are absorbed from that food. Water is absorbed back into our systems, and it's water that helps us get the waste out of our system. So, when our body is dehydrated, then we start running into issues if we're not drinking enough water. And by enough water, I mean 64 ounces of water when you're really not doing anything special during the day, when you're not doing anything that you're going to be overly exerting yourself. Just going through your day, your normal stuff, you need 64 ounces of water in your system to help your body do what it's supposed to do. Now let's talk about the difference between dehydrate and dehydration. To dehydrate just means it's a loss of body fluid. That could be water, it could be blood, it could be different fluids that the body has. To dehydrate your body just means a loss of body fluid. To be dehydrated or dehydration is the act of an excess of body fluids to be leaving your body. That's when you're dehydrated. What a lot of people really don't appreciate about the feelings of dehydration is what we call thirst. When we say, oh, we're thirsty, we're actually dehydrated. When you're feeling thirsty, you're already behind the 8 ball. That means you've gone so long without water that your body is craving it and you're dehydrated, which is a dangerous situation to be in, especially if you have a summer sport and you're playing this sport during the hot weather and you're feeling thirsty. It's because you have not properly hydrated yourself before the activity. So, as if football season comes up in the fall, as many of you are going back for Hell Week during late August, early September, worst time to be dehydrated. It's the worst time. Now, let me tell you what you can do. Before you get to any situation where you're going to be exercising, you're going to be exerting a lot of physical activity, you need to hydrate yourself before you get out there. So what you need to do an hour before the activity starts is you need to slowly hydrate yourself with 32 ounces or a quart of water. Of water. Nothing else, just water. Okay? Keep in mind that every hour of exertion, you should be rehydrating yourself 16 ounces at a time. For every hour of exertion, 16 ounces of water. That way you stay ahead of it and you should never actually feel thirsty. Okay? So, a lot of people are thinking, well, what happens when I'm sweating and my sweat tastes salty? What is all of that? I'm losing fluid, but it's not exactly water. What's going on? Well, you're perspiring. That's what the sweat is from. The perspiration covers your body, so when it evaporates, that cools the body. However, you're right. You are losing fluids. You need to put back some fluids. Now, what you are losing as you are perspiring in that way are electrolytes. Electrolytes are electrically charged atoms that lie to either side of your muscle cells and help it with contraction. That's why if you sweat an awful lot and you lose a lot of electrolytes, you cramp, because suddenly the muscle tissue is not going to relax the same way as it contracts, because you don't have the proper balance of your electrolytes in the muscular wall, and that's what starts cramping. So what you can do at that time is you can take advantage of some of the products that are on the market, like Gatorade and other electrolyte replenishing drinks that are on the market. I would not suggest that you only drink Gatorade. Why? Because not only does it have a lot of electrolytes that you need, but it's a more highly concentrated form of introducing those electrolytes to your body. So what has to happen? Your body has got to dilute the Gatorade in your stomach before it can be absorbed as it works its way through. So you want to drink a combination of Gatorade or some other type of electrolyte replenishing drink and water, such that it is not so strongly concentrated, and the body can assimilate it when it's time for you to absorb those electrolytes back, so that you don't cramp. Now, it is also just as important to continue to hydrate after the game or your meet or your competition or your training session. Continue to hydrate, okay? Because you are still going to need that same amount of water that I mentioned earlier, that 64 ounces of water, plus even more, because you've lost so much during your training. So on the days that you're training, on the days that you have your games, on the days you have your competitions, you want your basic 64 ounces of water and then some to take care of all of the water that you have lost, and all of the electrolytes that you have lost as well. I am just flipping through a couple things here to make sure that when it comes to water, I did not leave anything out. I just wanted to say really briefly, going back to electrolytes, your electrolytes that help with muscle contraction include sodium, chlorine, potassium, and calcium. Okay? All of those things are lost as you perspire. That's why it tastes salty. Sodium and chlorine together make sodium chloride, and sodium chloride is basic table salt. That's why it tastes salty. Now, keep in mind, if you're not staying on top of your hydration, at some point, all of that salt, etc., coming from your sweat glands, which is a lot of waste product and loss of your electrolytes, is going to be exhausted. Your amount of that kind of stuff to use as sweat's going to be exhausted. And what you're going to do is you're going to find that the more and more you perspire, it's going to start tasting like regular water. Danger zone. Danger zone. You are really in a bad way if your perspiration is just straight water. That means it's pulling from your cells and taking water out of your cells and organs where you really need it to try to cool yourself off. You need to stop whatever you're doing, and you need to hydrate immediately, okay? Because you cannot get into a point where you are overheating, you don't have the water to take care of it, you're going to have heat stroke, and that could be a fatal condition. That could be a fatal condition, okay? During practices in hot weather, youth die of heat stroke too many times every year. So take care of yourself. If you feel you're in this condition, you need to talk to your coach and say, Coach, I need to hydrate. My sweat is clear. It's pure water. I need to hydrate. I can't do this anymore. And if he is a coach worth his salt, he does not want you to go into heat stroke and will let you take that break. Now, very simple tests throughout the day to determine whether or not you're properly hydrated or not. Okay. Might sound, a little sickening, but this is the way you test it. In the morning when you get up and you go to the bathroom for the first time and you take a pee, okay? Because of the breakdown of the foods from your dinner, there are going to be vitamins in there and other minerals in your pee that's going to discolor it. It's going to be anywhere from a light to medium to maybe, a darkish yellow. Okay, that's because your urine is very, very concentrated because of the digestion and the metabolism of the food from the night before. So, as you drink water during the day, you should be able to see gradually a decrease in the coloration of your urine. It should get more and more and more and more clear as your body becomes more and more and more and more hydrated during the day as you're drinking all the water that you need, whether it's an off day from your training or whether you're training or competing. The amount of water that you're taking in should contribute to the clearing up of your urine until by the end of the day, you're going to be in a situation where your urine should be completely clear. If by the end of the day, your urine is not clear, that means you need to take in some more water to make sure that you are properly hydrated. One more thing that I want to get to, and I do have my notes sitting next here, so forgive me if I look away for a second. I want to talk about diuretics. Diuretics are foods and fluids that can increase the flow of urine, which means it can hasten the amount of urine that comes out of your system and therefore hasten your rate of dehydration. Okay, so a few of these foods and fluids include watermelon, citrus fruits, asparagus, beets, pineapple, kale, coffee. Well, this is what you have to keep in mind about that. Not only do you want to keep those foods to a minimum so that you're not dehydrating yourself by eating too many diuretics, but also when you eat diuretics, you might feel more of an urgency to go to the bathroom, but it's not going to take out more fluid than you've taken in, okay? It increases the rate at which you lose those fluids after the fluids that's needed by the body is metabolized, but it's not going to pull from sources and take out more fluids than you've already taken in, okay? So there's no reason to believe that if you eat foods that are high in diuretic properties, that suddenly you're just going to shrivel away and die because it's just going to drain all of your fluids, okay? You might think that that is a ridiculous and unnecessary thing for me to say, but you would be surprised at the questions that I've gotten when I talk about water, dehydration, replenishing fluids, Gatorade, electrolytes, and all that kind of stuff that I just talked to you now. People have a lot of misinformation about the importance of diuretics and, the importance of fueling yourself and the effect that diuretics can have on your system. So, with that, I'm going to sign off again. Again, it's been my pleasure to share this information with you. Please take what I say and try to implement it as much as you can with your training and nutrition protocol. And I will talk to you soon. But first, got to get that water. Yes. Have a good day. Stay safe, everybody.